Can you guys see me yet? Okay, hold on. Here I am. Hola. ¿Qué más?
Ari! Hola, Ari. Hi, man.
¿Qué más? Hola, mi amigos.
Hola, Ari.
Hola, Ari.
Chicago. I'm here at Camp Crystal Lake in Chicago. You see, I got my man. Mi perro. Is he aquí? Mi perro. Perra. Also,
Wow.
cool.
Wow.
That's great.
Yes, Jason, a legend.
The Neon Jason.
Well, of course, I did not. Of course, I'm just little Jason. I didn't get to wear the mask, but it's fun, right? How's everything in Colombia? Everything good?
Not exactly, but we have movies to deal with that.
Well, good. We need an army of Jasons sometimes, maybe. You see, my crazy country has been going through many things, but as you say, we're going to get through it. We're going to get through it all. But enough of that. Let's talk about Jason and Friday the 13th. And are there a lot of fans of Viernes 13 in Colombia?
Yeah, we're some of them. It's
Okay,
classic.
let's good. Yeah, I agree. It is a classic. This is going to be the 41st anniversary of Friday the 13th this year, and it's a big honor. But I don't know if I've ever heard from fans from Colombia. I mean, once in a while, of course, but I would love to endeavor to bring my band First Jason there one time. That would be great. Hopefully in the near future, when things change, we'll be able to come and visit you.
You surely will have some people to come to here.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, I'm excited about that. I don't know if you've heard recently, we released 2 new songs, one called The Scapegoat and one called The Price of Peace. And you can hear them up on Spotify right now. We just released 2 songs. So, I love that digital releasing as opposed to CDs or vinyl or anything, because that way everyone in the world can hear it,
Ari, here and in Colombia, there are so many. I guess that your band is some kind of heavy metal. I don't know, hard rock.
Yeah. Metal. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of metalheads here.
Awesome.
Talking about you, we're going to start this interview. Hi,
Okay.
I'm
Let's
Andres.
start the interview. Is there going to be a translator, an assigned translator?
I am the translator. I will say whatever you have to say to the boys here.
Okay.
Don't worry about that.
Right on. I just want to make sure everybody gets their questions answered, and because my Spanish is terrible.
Hey, Ari, I will ask you this in English.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Victor will translate. Just this question as a metalhead, as a metal fan. What is the genre and the motivation for you as a musician, not only in your own band, in your own project, tell us about the genre, but as a musician in movies, also in that, they call it B-movies, I call it the best movies, but okay, tell us about that phase as a musician.
Well, I think there is a connection between metal and horror, and punk and horror, in the sense that in both styles, both genres, we're attempting to push the envelope of emotional response, okay, and maybe dare the audience in a lot of different ways. In death metal and in horror punk, First Jason, honestly, is more like heavy metal, okay? My instrument, of course, is the keytar. I play a keytar that has black keys and kind of looks like a weapon. So, but earlier I played a keytar that was my own construction that was on a giant machete. It was a machete keytar. So you know, that's part of the theatrics. But because I'm a keytar player, okay, there's a lot of blues, there's a lot of funk, there's a lot of reggae. I played reggae music, and I got to work for Bob Marley's label, Interscope Records. I even got to work for Prince when I was starting out, okay? So I was a side man who would do a lot of world music, and I got to play for with like Rita Marley and with a lot of stars of reggae, and I got to even travel to Africa. But see, now, because I'm little Jason, okay, I kind of, realized that when we can't determine what people's expectations will be, and sometimes we just have to have fun with the expectations that are there, okay, in a kind of surrealist way, okay? And so realizing that maybe people coming to hear the guy who played Little Jason might not expect me to be doing reggae music about, peace and love and, hey, let's all be, like that would, come on, and it was funny too. It was funny because at first they were very nice to me about it. Oh man, I don't usually listen to reggae, but this is cool, man. I was like, oh, so it was actually at the Meadowlands when I got to meet Betsy Palmer and Kane Hodder for the first time. And this is many years ago. And it kind of dawned on me, hey, do something metal. And fortunately, I had a great friend when I was in college. He had a band called Reagan Youth, okay? Dave Insurgent. And so I was playing jazz, and he wanted to learn about jazz, and I wanted to learn about, rock. So I would go to CBGB's, and he had a band. And so I got to hear, Dead Kennedys, Bad Brains, White Zombie, I got to hear all of those bands. And, but still I was into jazz, but I got to hear this stuff. So, I kind of had to get my voice together. And I'm very fortunate because the metal community is open-hearted, and open-eared, and they were willing to give me a chance, as long as I, as we say in America, as long as I didn't suck, okay, I had to get up there and prove myself, because I respect that audience. Coming from jazz or reggae or whatever, you could have a gold record in jazz, but hey, if you're going to play on the metal stage, you got to be there on that and be authentic. Okay. So I had help from one of the members of the Cro-Mags, helped me greatly a lot as a drummer. And then there's a band which everybody should know about from Chicago. They're called Macabre. Do you guys know Macabre or Macabre? Macabre. Well, anyway, they're a great Macabre. They're a great death metal band. They just have a new album out. As a matter of fact, it's called Carnival of Killers, or I think it's Carnival of Killers. Yeah. And they're fantastic. They're one of the best. They are one of the bands. They've been around for over 20 years. Okay. So I just got lucky because their bass player happened to be on a hiatus for a year. They weren't playing for a year. So he was looking for work. So he was working with me for a year, and he was very like a mentor, He said, stop playing cover tunes and do something and get your keyboard into the act. You know, do something with that keyboard. So one time, just to fool him, you know, to tease him, I took the keyboard and I taped it to a big cosplay machete, okay? And that's how this guitar machete was born, okay? So, you know, it's definitely a different approach, okay? And at first people said, oh my gosh, you know, and it took me, so we had a first album, Jason Is Watching, and that got us a lot of love. And then we had a second album, Heed My Warning, and then To Be a Monster. But then more recently, we did an album called Lord of the Lake, okay? Lord of the Lake. And Lord of the Lake has the song Kill for Mother, and the song Voorhes is the name. And the videos of those songs got us recognized. Okay, so now, today, so Ice Nine Kills had me do a collaboration with them, okay? They have a song about Friday the 13th called Thank God It's Friday. So fast forward to today, now their singer just did a collaboration with me on the song The Scapegoat. We're gonna release that. And it's also got a voiceover by Sean from Grave Robber, which is a band that's actually toured in South America to some extent. I'm not sure if they've been to Colombia, but Grave Robber. So, you know, we're just happy to be out there working together. Is everybody with us? Did we lose some people?
No, we're still here.
Okay, cool.
Victor, let me translate this, please. I will be fast. Ari, do me a favor. I got a friend that got some kind of sign from metal, and also he do little events. If I can share your material, your videos, because
Yeah.
I know here at Deslan and myself, we are metalheads and we love your answer. I will translate it.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah.
Ok. Bueno, John, ahí siendo rápido, porque fue una respuesta muy larga, le pregunté sobre su carrera como músico, no solo las influencias que tuvo para él como compositor, sino también como compositor de una banda, perdón, y compositor de bandas sonoras. Bueno, resumiendo, Ari se formó como músico muy versátil. De hecho, tocaba reggae, tocaba jazz, y pues tocó con Prince, por ejemplo, tocó en Interscope Records. Interscope Records es la disquera de Bob Marley. Entonces, pero de repente, en su formación musical, fue conociendo a un amigo, no recuerdo el nombre, que él quería aprender sobre jazz y Ari quería aprender más sobre el rock, sobre el hard rock. Entonces fue conociendo la escena del CBGB. Bueno, el CBGB es un club muy famoso de la historia del punk y el grunge en la historia del rock, y llegó a colaborar con gente de bandas. Bueno, estas bandas yo creo que las va a conocer más los metalheads o Adeslan. Chromax es una de las bandas más importantes de, si no me equivoco, esos de crossover thrash. Y Macabre es una de las bandas más importantes de la escena de Chicago. Macabre.
Murder Metal Band.
Entonces, Ari, it's Carnival of Killers. I research, it's Carnival of Killers, the new album.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Entonces, and they just released that.
Yes.
So we're all on the same page. See that?
It's brand new.
Across the world. You know, that's fantastic, you know.
I will listen to them, the new album, and your material. Please, if you can share it here. Share it on the chat. I will listen, pass it to a friend.
Oh, yeah. It's up on Spotify now. On Spotify, just go to First Jason and check out these two songs, The Scapegoat and The Price of Peace. That's our two new songs.
Bueno, The Scapegoat and Price of Peace son las dos canciones más recientes de su banda, First Jason, primer Jason, y pues así es resumido cómo él ha logrado, porque dice que en los otros géneros se basan en las ventas, pero en el metal se basa en el respeto. Entonces yo creo que ahí está.
a todos los platforms digital, Spotify, Deezer, iTunes, Apple, todo.
Ok, esa fue la primera. Él dice que por favor busquen en las redes. Es más,
Sí.
mira, creo que aquí lo estoy.
I was trying to do with my... There you go. That's me.
Next question.
Okay.
Perfecto, perfecto. See, the music blew everything away. It was too much.
Yeah, I think he kind of had a hard time doing that, but it is great just hearing you talk. You're here to do that. You're the center of attention.
Yes. Yes. Well, that was cool momentarily with that great artwork. That artwork is done by Scott Jackson, who does all of our artwork. I'm happy to say too, there's going to be an animation video animated that's coming up soon for the Scapegoat.
Yes.
Dice que este fan art, esa ilustración se le hizo. Could you repeat the name of the artist again, please?
Scott Jackson.
Jackson, y que está emocionado de anunciar que pronto van a tener un video animado.
For all our album covers, Scott Jackson did all the artwork. So that face, and all the album, Lord of the Lake album cover, everybody loves. It looks like Game of Thrones meets Jason. That's Lord of the Lake. Yeah.
Que todos los covers de los álbumes, las portadas de los álbumes las hizo él. Entonces, eso, Scott Jackson.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to start now with a question from John, I guess, which I will be translating.
Thank you.
From now on.
Gracias. Nos adentramos un poco en la música, fue totalmente agradable. Además, ya involucrándonos en el tema del cine, en 1978, sí, si no estoy mal, Money Orphans, donde estás en el papel de Rogers, fue tu primera aparición en el mundo del cine. Me gustaría que contases esa experiencia, porque Money Orphans es un clásico de clásicos.
Gracias.
So, going to your roots, like in 1978, you participated in Many Orphans, which is a classic, and we want to know how was your role in this?
Wait! ¿Tú sabes Manny's Orphans?
Yeah, he does know it.
No, man. See. Oh, that was, I played Roger, the little kid who played soccer. But Roger, he's more into the girls. He's looking at Playboy magazine, you know, and he wasn't the best soccer player. I am truly thank you, John. Thank you, John, for knowing about that. Because well, maybe in countries where soccer is popular, football is popular, okay. They may be showing that late night on some cable channel or something. I don't know. But very few people in the United States know about Manny's Orphans. They never mention Manny's Orphans. But the story goes, okay, some of my buddies knew that I was interested in acting. And they knew that I could play soccer. So I lived in the same town, that's Westport, Connecticut. That's where Sean Cunningham had his studios, okay? And I just lucked out. I snuck into the audition, just myself, with a clipboard, and went in there alone, which kids should not do. But this was safe. It was at a YMCA, so it was safe. It was at a very safe place, like a school. And so they gave me an 80-line role in that movie. And I had never been in any movie before or done anything like that. And I'd like to think that I did a pretty good job for a little kid, you know. But then you know, I think because it was about soccer and not about American football or about baseball or hockey, you know, at least. You know, soccer was not popular in America, and that was 1979. So, and that got Sean back into the horror business, okay? So Sean Cunningham, it's the following summer now, he calls me on the phone. He says, Ari, I need you to come back. You know, we're doing a different movie. And you know, so I thought this was like my new summer job. I would just do movies during the summer, you know. And so that's how I found out. He said, we're doing a horror movie. We need you to come down to the studio. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that I was small. I was a little kid. I was small for my age. So, and then he said, so come down to the studio. We need you to come down soon. You know, so I said, sure, you know, I'll go down there. And so of course, you know, famously he said, can you swim? And I said, I could swim. And he said, great, you got the part. That's fine. And then, you know, as you see, the picture behind you shows me working with Tom there. And that's what I did for about 4 months, working with Tom Savini. And, you know, I had a lot of fun working. Yeah, there I am. Although that morning was not the best morning. That morning right there, they didn't use any of the footage from because we were, you know, maybe a little hungover. You know, we had a little too much the night before. So Sean Cunningham said, hey, okay, we're going to do this again. And you guys got to, you know, be serious. So, yeah, we did it. And when we shot that scene, that's the scene where he's drowning, okay? We did that in one take, done, okay? And then I went home and I thought, wow, you know, I'm in a movie where I drown. This is great. So then Sean Cunningham calls me back. He says, we need you to come back to the set. And I said, well, how can I come back to the set? My character is dead, okay? My character has been killed. He said, no, you get your revenge, okay? He said, you get your revenge. I said, what? Okay, you know, so I wanted to go back. And that's the famous, you know, final scene where I came out of the water and grabbed poor Adrian King, who wasn't really ready for it. But there you go. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that's more than enough.
Okay, cool.
Thanks. No, that it's great hearing this for real. We'll delve into this a bit deeper. So yeah, let me just translate this. It's quite the job. Okay, bueno, a ver, primero que nada que Ari está agradecido con el hecho de que reconozcan Manny's Orphans, que dice que no mucha gente conoce esa película porque el fútbol no era tan popular, el soccer no era tan popular en el 79, bueno, cuando él hizo esto. Y que entonces él consiguió este rol porque Sean Cunningham tenía su estudio en Connecticut. Entonces él se infiltró, medio se coló aquí en el estudio cuando estaban haciendo las audiciones para este papel. Y entonces Ari llegó con un portapapeles y hizo su audición y le dieron un papel de 80 líneas, el de Roger, el cual fue su primera experiencia completamente en el cine. Nunca había hecho ningún tipo de trabajo de actuación antes. Era algo en lo que estaba interesado y sin embargo esta fue la primera vez que lo realizó. Por lo que hizo esto y gracias a esto Sean Cunningham más tarde lo llamó para un proyecto de terror en el cual solamente le preguntó si tenía la habilidad de nadar. Entonces cuando él dice que sabe nadar, ahí es cuando le dan la parte que él no sabía en ese momento que era el pequeño Jason. Entonces filmaron una escena en una sola toma en la que él se ahogaba y bueno, ahí fue solamente una toma. Luego de eso lo volvieron a llamar diciéndole que tenía que volver al set. Él se preguntó por qué tengo que volver al set si mi personaje está muerto, ¿cómo voy a volver al set? Y le dicen, no, Te ganas tu venganza. Entonces ahí fue cuando él se interesó y fue de nuevo. Y ahí es donde se graba la famosa escena en la que Jason sale del lago y atrapa a esta chica.
Wow.
Y bueno, la foto que John tiene de fondo, de hecho, no fue la mejor mañana porque lo que grabaron durante esa mañana no lo utilizaron en la película final porque la noche anterior habían estado tomando un poco, entonces dejaron eso de lado.
Oh, genial, Víctor. Gracias ahí. Bueno, yo le doy la palabra a Joan para que, bueno, a los Connery.
Excellent.
Quisiera preguntarle a Ari respecto a cómo comenzó su participación en la saga Viernes 13, porque la verdad me estaba informando al respecto y esa es una saga que comenzó allá en los años 80. Entonces él mencionaba en lo que nos ha dicho previamente sobre los años 70, pero yo he notado que los años 70 respecto a los años 80 eran mucho más libres para el terror, ya que se podían hacer más cosas. En cambio, en los años 80 hay como una especie de glamurización, es decir, todo se tiende a volver como más glamuroso. Entonces quería preguntarle cómo fue el proceso de grabación de Viernes 13 a inicios de década de los 80. ¿Qué fue lo que él notó que después cambió en las posteriores películas? ¿Qué fue lo que hizo a esa película tan recordada en el momento en que la estaban grabando? Y si nos podría contar algunas anécdotas en específico de cuando estaban grabando dentro de los escenarios.
Okay, great. So, John has just exposed that maybe
Thank you.
movies were different from the 70s to the 80s. So, like, in the 80s, we see this kind of glamorization and one movies kind of follow a routine instead of the more maybe liberal way they did horror films in the 70s. So, we want to know, like, first of all, if you maybe saw some kind of change between these decades and what was it like to go into a set in the beginning of the decade and maybe what changed afterwards. And we also want you to just have fun and tell us every single maybe fun story that you could maybe remember about your experience on the set.
Yeah, that's a good question because Friday the 13th, of course, was the first of an entire genre that came after it. So a lot of what would define horror for, I guess, 8 or 10 years really was affected by Friday the 13th. But let's remember, okay, you had a preoccupation with the supernatural in the 70s. We had The Exorcist. We had Rosemary's Baby. We had Damien. We had The Omen, okay? Okay, so that was all about the supernatural. Very complex, female-driven horror. Kind of coming out of the Giallo thing before it, Dario Argento, but maybe not, just a big preoccupation with hell, and all of that. Okay. So then we got Jaws. And Jaws reminded us how much we love a monster movie. Do we really want to go home and think about hell and damnation? I mean, it got to be too much. I remember with The Exorcist, when I was growing up, a great movie. I'm not debating that. It's just, why do we go and see a horror movie? So with Jaws, it kind of said, oh, you know what? Let's have fun with monsters again. Okay? So in my opinion, Friday the 13th, though, didn't have the kind of budget that Jaws had, okay? So Sean and Tom and Victor Miller, who was the writer, all had to really think and see. Victor wrote usually for TV. Tom was used to working in independent scenarios, and Sean was very, very good, all of them, at being resourceful, okay? At making the most of the resources that they had, okay? Right in front of them at the camp, okay? So that in itself, that type of independent resourcefulness that was limited by their budgets, okay? But see, sometimes a limitation causes us to be more creative, okay? And I think that if anything that we could say affected all the horror movies that came afterwards, you know, you got Halloween, of course, before Friday the 13th. And then at the same time, you've got The Shining. The Shining and Friday the 13th, the same year. But you look at the impact of these movies. Both, I mean, arguably, you know, The Shining is more of a great movie. But do we need the horror movie to be a great movie? I don't know. Maybe it's lost on people. That's like, you know, part of it is to be like an amusement park, like a thrill ride, just something fun. Maybe there's a little thinky something, but that's not, you know, like, I think that Sean and Tom and everybody, and let's not leave out Steve Miner, who was the producer of Friday the 13th. So their vision was that we could just have like, just like the beginning of Friday the 13th, they're around the campfire, they're singing a song around the campfire, simple ghost stories in the summertime, and they brought back that. And maybe they were borrowing that a little bit from Jaws, because Jaws took a safe place, the beach, and made it a scary place. And so they did that. They took the woods and made it, you know. But so there you go. In my opinion, you know, a lot of it has to do with, and I use this all the time as a band leader or doing videos or, you know, make the most of the resources that you have in front of you. And very often it makes you more creative. Okay. Excellent.
Bueno,
We're doing good.
Lo que había dicho Ari es que, bueno,
where are you guys in Bogota?
No, we're from Cucuta. It's a frontier city. It's a lesser known one.
Cool. That's awesome. Is that in the north or the south?
It's in the east. Yeah, it is the east, I think.
It is
okay,
the east.
I'll translate,
Very good.
and we can keep going.
Awesome, man.
Bien. Ok, Ari dice que algo que acabo de ver y es bastante cierto, y es que en los 70s creo que la gente tenía una mayor preocupación con el infierno y con lo espectral y los demonios. Entonces teníamos cosas como The Omen, Rosemary's Baby, El Exorcista, etcétera. Pero que entonces con Jaws y con Viernes 13 empiezan a ver como un patrón de que quieren volver a divertirse con películas de monstruos. Y es algo que empiezan a hacer. Y otra cosa es que, por ejemplo, El Resplandor también, que salió el mismo año que Viernes 13. Ven que, por ejemplo, El Resplandor es una película muy grande, y una película así, un proyecto ambicioso, pero que entonces él dice que realmente uno necesita que las películas de terror sean algo grande, o simplemente arreglárselas con lo que no tienen, arreglárselas y improvisar con lo que tienen. Como que esto es más como para apelar a que una película de terror sea algo con lo que la gente se quiere divertir, y algo con lo que es como una atracción en un parque de diversiones. Entonces es como esto, lo divertido, y que entonces inician así un Viernes 13, la que inicia con un campamento, una fogata alrededor con los jóvenes, como estableciendo estos estereotipos. Y digamos, yo ya había hecho lo mismo con convertir la playa, que es un lugar generalmente seguro, en algo terrorífico para la gente. Entonces, pues, esto es algo que pude notar con Viernes 13, que es algo bastante influencial y que fue en los 80s que empezó esto otra vez con las películas de monstruos, junto a Jaws y tal vez Halloween un tiempo antes. O sea, es parte de lo que inició con todo esto.
Increíble. Ahí, Joan, le dieron la respuesta increíble. Ahora, bueno, respecto a nuestro colega Adeslan, ¿quién puede preguntarle a Ari?
Creo que no, buenas noches. Sí, acerca de la primera película, acerca sí, del primer papel que interpretó. O sea, ¿qué fue lo que le gustó, o sea, al libreto y ya al ver finalizado el personaje, usted ya prácticamente, o sea, al ver que ya lo hizo, bueno, apareció en el lago en la escena final, la primera película de 1980, y qué fue lo que más le gustó, o sea, lo que más le impactó y si tuviera la oportunidad de tener, por ejemplo, otro papel similar, o sea, lo volvería a hacer, o sea, con toda la fama que tuvo la saga, la película Viernes 13, lo volvería a hacer. Esa sería mis preguntas. Bueno, muchas gracias.
Okay, so we want again to kind of for you to give an insight on your first role with this with Friday the 13th. Like,
Yes.
what is something that you like about this role, even if it was small, like something that you can maybe recall, maybe you enjoyed about this
Of
kid?
of course. Well, working with Tom Savini, of course, was amazing because to be that age, and he was, it was like seeing the inner secrets of the horror world, all the tricks, the weapons, the decapitations, the cadavers, he had everything there. And the bust of Boris Karloff and Vincent Price and Bela Lugosi, and, that was amazing, okay? Now, when I did the final sequence, that was really a moment where everybody came together as a team, and I'd like to think that they even encouraged me, as a part of that team, and I'll explain that. So Adrienne King, who plays Alice Hardy, was in the boat there, okay? And she really had never seen the makeup, especially the makeup after it was muddy, okay, from the lake. So she wasn't ready. Sean Cunningham says to me, okay, the cameras are rolling. Just go out in the lake and go underwater. But you're not going to be able to hear me say action. So you're the director. And when the bubbles clear, I want you to come out of the water and grab Adrienne, and you pull her in the water. And he didn't say, put your hand here, do something like this. No, nothing about blocking or positioning that an actor always gets. But he said to me, the cameras are rolling. And when the cameras are rolling, we know what that means, because back in those days, we used film, okay? And one roll of film only has a very limited number of minutes. So when he said the cameras are rolling, I knew there was a sense of urgency. And I went into the water and I thought, I'm the director. Okay, I'm the director. I went underwater and I looked up and I thought, I didn't have much time. I thought, how am I going to do this? Am I going to do this pretend or am I going to really come out? And then I thought, you know, she cut my mom's head off. You know, I'm going to kill that bitch, you know, whatever. I came out of the water and grabbed the side of the boat. And as I was coming up, I realized that nobody else except me and Sean knew what was happening in that moment. So as I hit, wham, she just goes, wow, and they cut it right there, okay? Because then she grabbed my arms and threw me off of her and went out of the boat. She said, oh shit, and bam, okay? So, but they got that part, okay, right up to her going, ah, and you look at the GIF of that and you'll see what I'm saying. Then they said, okay, do it again, but now they did it from further back. So it's kind of yellow in the background because the trees had changed colors, okay? It was October. But so then they sandwiched those two shots. They have me just going like this from a long shot, and then all of a sudden you're in close. When you're in close, that's the first take. And boy, was I relieved when I saw that it was on the screen, because I thought I was like a deranged child who had come out and scared this nice woman. I think it's funny. They always say Danny Lloyd, who played the little boy in The Shining, they always say, oh, they never told Danny that he was on a horror set. Well, for me, it was the opposite. It's like they didn't tell her that I was a little monster and I was coming out of the water. So there you go. That's how it really happened.
That's amazing.
I hope you can translate that.
Yeah, don't worry. You're giving me a thug right here. So don't worry, it is. Ok, vale.
También agradecerle, sí, o sea, por el agradecimiento también por estar en la entrevista y la verdad la admiro tantas películas, bueno, como toda saga y icónica como el papel de Jason en el primero, o sea, muy brutal, o sea, realmente es un honor estar acá presente, incluso sí, con el mismo Ari Lehman, primer actor de el primer papel de Jason, la verdad, todo un honor, la verdad, mucho agradecimiento.
Abdul Slam is really thankful for having the chance to meet you and talk to you. So it's a honor for me.
No, it's
and
an honor for me.
For being here.
No, thank you very much. No, it means a great deal to me. It means a great deal to me.
Vale. Ok, eso confirmo mi sospecha, que era lo que estaba esperando. Y sí, esa escena fue técnicamente improvisada, ya que, bueno, Sean Cunningham se le acerca y le dice, las cámaras están rodando, entonces, pero tú eres el director, tienes que ir debajo del agua y agarrarla a Adrian King. Entonces, claro, él está un poco nervioso sabiendo que tenía que hacer esto. El tipo dijo, bueno, hay que tener en cuenta que las cámaras tenían como un tiempo de rodaje limitado, así que cuando dice que las cámaras están rodando es porque de verdad hay que trabajar en la toma y demás. Entonces, cuando él hizo esto, su forma de agarrar coraje era meterse entre el personaje de Jason y decir, tipo, bueno, ella mató a mi madre, la decapitó, así que voy a agarrarla y voy a matarla. Eso fue como, yo conseguí el coraje. Entonces, la primera toma, Adrian King no sabía absolutamente nada y realmente solamente él y Sean Cunningham sabían lo que iba a pasar en esa toma, que es la que se ve más de cerca, tipo la segunda toma que se ve en la escena, que se muestra más de cerca, fue la primera que grabaron. Y la primera, que es de una distancia larga, fue cuando la grabaron después. Fue en octubre, dice, por las estaciones y demás, el color de los árboles. Entonces, ahí el director de la escena fue él y dice que le parece súper divertido que, digamos, dicen que el niño Danny en El Resplandor no sabía realmente que estaba grabando una película de terror, pero Sin embargo, él, al contrario, nadie sabía que él estaba interpretando al pequeño monstruo de la película de terror. Así que fue una sorpresa para Aaron King, que es algo que le parece bastante divertido. También algo que me olvidé mencionar antes es que una de las cosas que le gustó era aprender los trucos del horror al trabajar en una película de estas a su edad y pues ver cómo se manufacturaba todo esto, los efectos y demás, los sustos.
Gracias, Víctor. Y bueno, a Eslan ahí le dieron la respuesta increíble. También, aparte de Viernes 13, adentrémonos un poco a lo que es el tema de las demás producciones que has hecho, porque has hecho tantísimas. Y esto es algo emocionante, porque ya en el 2008, 2006, Thanksgiving, ¿sí? Thanksgiving es considerada una de las mejores películas por su efecto de edición. En lo que respecta a Eri, sí, que tuvo un papel siempre importante allí, que nos comente un poco sobre qué le parece de esa película al ser considerada para el cine un buen efecto de edición superado a muchas otras producciones. Thanksgiving.
Okay, moving on from Friday the 13th, we want to know about this project that you participated in. That I didn't hear the name quite well. John, ¿cómo se llama?
Acción de gracias, por así decirlo.
Oh, Thanksgiving. Okay, thanks.
Oh my gosh. I was
yeah. It was like something that we can say about this is how it has some really great effects, and maybe it is over any of her.
You've seen the movie Thanksgiving? You've seen that?
O los efectos especiales, todo eso.
Yeah.
We want to know
that
about
was
this.
one of the first independent film. That's the first independent film that I was in, actually. And it was shot near St. Louis, Missouri. And one thing I remember was I had to shoot a shotgun. I don't know if you remember this scene where I get to shoot a shotgun, you know? And they gave me a real old shotgun to shoot. And wow, it was very loud. So they let me shoot it one time, you know, blanks, not real bullets, blanks. But they were big, you know? So kablam, oh my God, it made all this. So then the next day I was supposed to shoot, but it's like these zombies are attacking me. So I'm like, stop. And then I'm supposed to go boom, 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 and then fall off a cliff. And I was, you know, I was a bit scared. So, you know, my heart's beating in my chest like this. And then I heard in my head the voice of Kane Hodder. You know who Kane Hodder is, right? He played Jason part 7 through 10. Anyway, he's a big guy. So he said, this, you know, it's an American expression. He said, don't be a pussy. In my head. I can hear him say that. So I just said, okay, you know, and the scene went fine. But yeah, boom, boom. I had to shoot 4 times, boom, and then fall onto a mattress or a couple mattresses. So there you go. That was in Thanksgiving. Yeah. What was the name of the guy? Some of the people who did special effects for that included a person named Raven Chapman, who was a very good special effects person. That might be the person you're thinking about. He did a lot of the special effects.
Okay, great. Bien, Eri, recuerda, le divierte bastante recordar una escena en la que tipo, bueno, zombies lo están atacando, entonces él, para defenderse, tiene una escopeta. Entonces en el set le dieron una escopeta de verdad, una vieja escopeta, pero bueno, claro, eran balas de salva. Y igualmente cuando recuerdo esa escena en la que, bueno, simplemente empieza a disparar y era algo real, estaba un poco asustado. Pero entonces recuerdo las palabras de Could you repeat the name of the man who was Jason from the 7 to 10, the one who told you to not
Kane
go fishing?
Hodder. Kane Hodder.
Kane
Yes.
Hodder. Le
Kane
dice
Hodder.
le dice, bueno, es un tipo grande, y entonces recuerda que le dice, no seas un marica. Así que él recordó esto en la mente y es gracias a eso que logró esto. Y ya luego eso se cae hacia atrás por un acantilado y cayó encima de un montón de colchones. O sea, es algo que le divertió bastante. Y dice que también, ahí mencionó el nombre del encargado de los efectos especiales. Fue el primer proyecto independiente en el que estuve involucrado. Y por lo que veo, lo recuerda bastante, lo recuerda y lo divierte bastante.
Es genial. Yo tengo una pregunta sobre Ari, muy importante.
Sí, yo quiero preguntarle a Ari un poco para profundizar el tema de la influencia del giallo en el slasher, porque yo soy un fervoroso admirador de Mario Bava y Dario Argento, entonces he notado muchas similitudes entre el monstruo que creó Mario Bava para 6 mujeres para el asesino, que en inglés se llamó Blood and Blood Lace, y también los asesinatos gráficos que aparecen en Bahía de Sangre, que en inglés es A Bay of Blood. Entonces quería preguntarle si él y el director y en general la producción de Viernes 13 se inspiró mucho en estos filmes de este giallo tan crudo que tenía Mario Bava en A Bay of Blood y en Blood and Blood Lace, que es 6 mujeres para el asesino en español, porque la verdad yo noto que el slasher de Estados Unidos es una versión totalmente distinta del terror que tenían del giallo en Italia, porque el giallo enfatiza mucho en utilizar colores muy estridentes y en utilizar movimientos de cámara muy sofisticados, mientras el slasher se enfatiza más en ser muy crudo. Prácticamente los colores tienden a ser muy monocromáticos y además la violencia es muchísimo más fuerte. Entonces quería preguntarle si este paso de algo tan glamuroso que es el giallo en los 70 a algo tan crudo que es el slasher en los 80, o la situación de Estados Unidos en el momento, o es que el terror fue buscando la manera de hacerse más explícito con el tiempo. Y se lo pregunto a él porque la verdad él empezó justo cuando cambió la tendencia, que es en 1980. Entonces quisiera saber la opinión de él al respecto de este cambio de género del giallo, que es como muy sofisticado, algo más crudo que es el slasher.
Okay, the question is about giallo and comparing it to slasher films, correct?
Yeah, it's kind of that. He also wants to know if maybe the Friday the 13th crew took some inspiration from this kind of movies like Mario Bava and Dario Argento. So,
yeah. Sure.
Sí, y específicamente quisiera mencionarle sobre el asesino enmascarado de Blood and Blood Lace, que es como un precedente de Jason, el enmascarado.
Well, okay. I love giallo movies. Okay. I got to meet Dario Argento, and I got to present him with an award in Italy in an opera house. Okay. Not to mention Mario Bava, Lamberto Bava, and of course, well, anyway, they were all there. Ruggero Deodato, they were all there. I'm a big fan of giallo. Now, yes, there's definitely a shared aesthetic, but you're right, there's a more glamorous side to giallo, and it's more sophisticated, and if you will, there's kind of a psychedelic side to giallo. You know, I've always felt giallo was like Hitchcock meets Salvador Dali, you know, on acid. But I love Dario's movies. Phenomenon is one of my favorite movies. of all time, especially horror films, with Jennifer Connelly, and of course, so in Phenomenon, okay, but it's not just Phenomenon. Which is it now? No, it is Phenomenon, because at the end of Phenomenon, remember, there's a boy in the boat. There's a little boy in a boat on a lake. You remember at the very end? Is that Phenomenon, or is it Deep Red? No, that's Phenomenon. Yeah. So, okay. So when I met Dario Argento the first time, I said to him, "Oh, it's so good to meet you. I guess we got this idea from you about this boy in the lake and the whole thing." And his translator said to him, but then Dario said to me, "No, tu è primo." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You were first." I said, "I was first?" He goes, his movie came out in 1983. And so maybe he borrowed from us. And then I said, "Oh my gosh, I didn't mean to accuse you of borrowing." But of course, when you look at Friday the 13th, as much as they love to, again, borrow the aesthetic, especially in terms of the look and certain things like the way Argento loves to focus on a weapon and focus on hands, okay? That was big in Friday the 13th. If anyone, it was probably Barry Abrams, the director of photography, who was a very cool guy who knew about all that stuff. He was probably the one who really, really was hip to giallo film, Barry. It's really an Americanization, I guess you could say, in that it wants to make it more fun and more simple and less complex. If you look at a movie like Deep Red or Opera or Suspiria, of course, and they have so much intricacy, and there's that mystical element that I love. I love those kind of movies. But you could see where in a movie that's about a girl who keeps walking around a ballet academy and she can't really find things, and then she runs into some witches. In America, that's not going to have the same resonance as a mom who kills all the counselors because their son drowned. So yeah, there is a shared aesthetic, but there is a distinct difference in terms of the approach. What is it about American horror films? One American horror film that is a departure is The Night of the Hunter, which was just directed by Charles Lawton. It's not really a gory. It has some very horrific elements, okay, including a woman trapped in a car at the bottom of a lake, okay, and there's all sorts of okay, Robert Mitchum plays a itinerant priest who's a serial killer in that film, okay? And he has love and hate tattooed on his fists, okay? That's where that comes from. But what's American about it is that it's not about an evil, scheming person. The person thinks he's doing the right thing, even though he's a total monster. That's just like Pamela Voorhes thinks she's doing the right thing. And then eventually, big Jason, hockey mask Jason, thinks he's doing the right thing. That's a difference about American horror films as opposed to that classic Gothic, or as you're saying, giallo film, where it's more complicated, I think. But in its simplicity, there is a underlying complex message, just like in Halloween. Okay, Laurie Strode's world is perfect because she lives in the suburbs and everything is nice. And then there's Michael. Okay, so you see, yeah, slasher films may share the aesthetic of giallo films, but the theme is different, definitely. But good question.
Oh, yeah.
Listo. Ahí.
Okay, I got some
And by the way, Dario Argento is the coolest guy in the world. You got to meet. He's just an amazing person. He's a very wonderful, wonderful person. Yeah. All those guys.
Thanks for your answer, Ari. I love the Argento movies.
Yeah.
He's a director with influence
Opera.
are notorious here in Cucuta. John and me made a movie based in Yao.
Oh, wow, cool. Well, I want to see it then. Is there a link? Is it up online or anyway? Let me see it.
Ari quiere saber si la película que hicieron creo que Operación Agramón está por ahí para que se la envíen.
Yo con mucho gusto se lo envío y bueno, ahí se deleitará un poco.
Ari pues dice que de hecho él una vez conoció a Dario Argento y es el tipo más genial de la faz de la tierra. Y la verdad que, por ejemplo, hay una película que es, yo recuerdo, Fenómeno, en la que al final también tiene algo parecido a esto de haber, ya estoy ocupado ya, de que hay una persona, un chico en un bote en el lago y entonces él se lo comentó a Dario Argento le dijo que eso lo hicieron ellos primero, así que le parece curioso que tal vez más bien él ya lo haya tenido inspiración de eso, por lo que dice que hay temas que son ciertamente distintos entre el giallo y tal vez el slasher y esta americanización, esta modernización y esta versión americanizada que es más enfocada tipo en tener ser algo divertido para el cine de terror en Estados Unidos. Aquí aún así comparten una estética y en este caso el giallo también tiene una estética bastante psicodélica, así que eso es algo que él recuerda. También mencionó ahí La Noche del Cazador, aquí ya no es este pastor que piensa que está haciendo algo correcto, que realmente no lo es, así como tal vez Pamela Voorhes haciendo algo que en su mente, en su forma de pensar piensa que está bien y es algo correcto y realmente no lo es. Entonces dice que es una estética compartida a pesar de que los temas sean mucho más distintos y no tengan el mismo grado de complejidad entre ambos.
It says nombre de mi esposa, Elaine.
Increíble.
How you guys doing? You good?
Good.
Okay, good to hear you. Well, we got an hour, so I'm glad to see you all again. Glad to see you all. I've got my mask there. He's still there doing his thing. Right here. Dancing around there. Cool. So, yeah, a lot of crazy stuff has happened in the United States since we last talked, but, you know, it's nothing Jason can't handle. But, so everybody's good? Todo bueno?
Todo bueno. Andrés, para que le digas a Ari que las preguntas, como es una hora que tenemos, entonces que voy a hacerle pocas preguntas para que las respuestas sean un poco más concisas, para que alcance el tiempo, que es una hora, el cual es un gusto.
Okay, Ari. Okay, Ari.
Hey.
I will be. Hi, Ari. How are you?
Excellent.
I am with the T-shirt of a metal band from Cucuta called Son of Parasite. I
wow.
told
awesome.
about
Oh,
First
no.
Jason. They love it.
Oh.
Oh, you know. And I will be your translator today. John tell me that there will be only 5 questions for short answers for the 1 hour time. Okay.
Excellent. I appreciate it.
No.
And yeah. So let's go for it. I'm ready.
Okay. Listo, John. Listo.
De acuerdo. Entonces, Ari, hay algunas películas en las que usted ha aparecido que son muy importantes. ¿Cuál es? La Casa de los Secretos Prohibidos, Dick Woods, Domingos de Pascua. Esas 3 son las más significativas. ¿Por qué? Porque allí usted tomó un papel retro clásico y también se destacó por el género slasher, los más destacados. Además, quisiera saber un poco sobre cuáles de esas 3 diferencias usted rescata desde esas 3 películas referente al tema de la innovación. Sobre todo, cómo fue su experiencia con la última aparición de Robert Sidao.
John wants to know about what was your participation in these 3 movies: House of Forbidden Secrets,
right.
Easter Holocaust.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, right, okay.
Yeah, and Easter Sunday, because there was some kind of reboot of the slasher genre, and he wants to know also how was to act with the now late actor. John, recuérdame el nombre del actor.
Robert Sidao.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Robert Sidao. Okay.
Yes.
That's the question.
Well, that's a very good question. Now, that film, Easter Sunday, is a excellent 80s slasher homage. It was made on the East Coast by a brilliant director. I think his name is Jeremy Todd Moore. I think. This is some years ago. Moorhead. Thank you. Jeremy Todd Moorhead. Yes. See. Great director. Also a musician. Also a singer. Very great singer. He had a metal band as well. Really, really talented individual. And he was working together. Oh, I can't believe I can't remember. But anyway, I got to play the postman. Okay, I play a postman. And when Jeremy saw me do that, he liked what I did. So he wanted to expand the role a little bit. So there's a scene where the postman kind of reveals that he's the villain, kind of. Well, I'm not giving it away, but he's part of the plot, okay? And he's summoning a spirit with a Ouija board, okay? But you know, it was a lot of fun to work on that movie. I didn't actually do all that much in it, but okay, I did get to work with Robert Z'Dar. Robert Z'Dar, an amazing actor, an amazing character actor, just a wonderful human being, just grande corazón, you know, just a big-hearted man, very, very nice person. Now, working with Robert, I wish I got to work with him more, because he's one of those actors, when you do a scene, you want to make it feel as real as possible. Now, very often somebody's given a weapon in a scene, okay? Like I told you when I was given the shotgun in Thanksgiving. So not everybody is familiar with how to use a weapon, you know? But Robert Z'Dar is one of those actors. He could play a policeman. I believe he was Maniac Cop, wasn't he? He was in a movie where he played a policeman. He could play a gangster. He could play and he made it look like he knew all about that gun. When the gun was in his hand, it looked natural. And just a sweet person. Of course, he got his wings. You know, he's up there in the great theater in the sky. You know, but and you know, he's truly missed. And he's a person when we'd be working together, and he would always, you know, he would actually call me and say, check in and say, how you doing? You know, he knew I was doing rock and roll, and he was worried about that. He wanted me to do more acting. He said, you should do more movies. He said, rock and roll is dangerous, you know. He would always call me, make sure I got home. Okay, you good? Okay, yeah. So, yeah, Bobby Zadar, Bobby Z, man, we miss him, man. But, you know, the thing about independent films is very often they ask me to do a cameo role, a short role, which I'm honored to do. But I think that it's always more fun when you get to do something more like a character, okay? So I didn't get to do much of a character there. There's a movie coming up called The Barn 2. I think I told you guys about that. The Barn and The Barn 2, where I play Dr. Rock, okay? And in The Barn 2, my character gets to speak a lot, and I get to battle zombies. I actually battle zombies with a keytar and a nail gun. So I don't want to give it away, but no, Dr. Rock. But The Barn 2 is almost completed. They had to momentarily pause production because of the quarantine, but The Barn 2 will be coming out. Now, Linnea Quigley is in that film. You guys are familiar with Linnea Quigley. She's an actress. She was in Return of the Living Dead.
Yes. Yes.
She played, what's her name? Trash, I think. The girl with the, she's in the cemetery scene. Anyway, yeah. And also Lloyd Kaufman is in that film too. He plays the mayor. And Dr. Rock is saying, you got to let everybody have Halloween, you know, and the mayor's saying, no, we got to close Halloween because of these zombies. So anyway, there you go.
Okay, Ari, I will translate.
I know.
Yes, yes. Okay.
No.
Esto, John. Bueno, así resumiendo, que en Easter Sunday él tuvo la oportunidad de trabajar con el director John Moorhead, que también es músico, igual que Ari, y pues lo considera que es una persona muy talentosa, y pues aunque su participación en Easter Sunday, digamos que no fue tan amplia, sí permitió pues el honor de haber trabajado con el actor, con Robert Zidar. Robert Zidar es una persona que le dijo que, Ari, dedícate más a la actuación, te estás concentrando mucho en la música, el rock and roll es algo peligroso, y él agradece mucho eso porque le permitió, digamos, pasar de los cameos allá a las actuaciones, y para Ari es muy importante pues ya hacer los papeles, pues retornar los papeles de asesinos. Entonces acá me pidió un favor de volver a hablar de The Barn Part 2, la segunda parte de The Barn, donde vuelvo a interpretar el papel del Dr. Roth, porque bueno, a esto te va a gustar mucho, John. Va a tener asesinatos con, si no me equivoco, un arma en forma de un instrumento musical. Y exactamente, y va a tener muchas más participaciones, muchas más muertes. Va a estar la actriz Linnea Quigley, que es una de las actrices de culto en Return of the Living Dead, el regreso a los muertos vivientes, y también Lloyd Kaufman, que Lloyd Kaufman es aquella persona que en Halloween le dice a las personas, por favor, no salgan en Halloween. Entonces, ¿qué tal? Y obviamente que le agradece a John Moorhead el hecho de haber retomado el género del slasher, y que Easter Sunday y las películas que usted mencionó son un bello retorno al slasher ochentero.
Muy buena respuesta. Bueno, ya con la segunda parte de la pregunta, bueno, no sé si Víctor también quiera contribuir, pero aquí voy diciendo qué tipo de psicología se describe respecto al tema del villano o al tema que interpreta Ari en Clown Motel.
Yeah, from Clown Motel, yes?
Yes.
Well, in Clown Motel, okay, the wild thing about working on Clown Motel is that it's based on an actual haunted location. And this location is in the middle of the desert in the Wild West, okay, in Nevada. It's in Tonopah, Nevada, or Nevada, okay? And there was once a fire in a silver mine, okay? And a lot of the miners were killed in this fire. So there's a graveyard there. And I've slept right next to this graveyard. You know, there's a graveyard there, which is in Clown Motel. And so what happened was they built a motel next to the graveyard, but since everybody thought it was so scary, they tried to make the motel more friendly by having clowns. Okay, this is back in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, okay? So they put all these clown paintings and statues and everything all over the place, but instead of making it more friendly, it made it very scary. So people, it's known as the Clown Motel, and it's haunted, okay? So now, when we went there, I mean, we were there for 2 weeks in the desert, man, filming this movie. And we would go out in the middle of the desert to film some scenes. So it was pretty intense experience. Now, Clown Motel is the brainchild of Joseph Kelly, okay? If we're talking about Clown Motel, you got to talk about Joe Kelly. And Joe Kelly is also another very talented individual because he can direct, he can write, he can act, and he's really good at bringing people together who are very talented. So he started out in New York and then went to Los Angeles. And he's done an amazing job, in my opinion, of, breaking into the business and making, getting attention to his projects, especially the first Clown Motel project. The second Clown Motel project, we went back into the desert. Now this time we shot it in this cave system in the desert. So when you see this, it's pretty intense. There's bats in there. It's inside there. So, oh dear. The woman who did the stunts on The Exorcist. Oh, come on, Ari. Well, this great actress whose name I forgot because I smoke pot all the time is also in it. She played in The Exorcist, okay? So Clown Motel, you know, is pretty much the most brutal film that I've been in, I would say. And I do a scene in Clown Motel, which is pretty brutal, okay? And we benefited greatly from the people that Joe brought together on that set, who did an amazing job. And I got to do this scene where, you know, if you'll pardon my language, the quote, the character's name is Sycan the Clown, okay? So I play Sycan the Clown, who's like a pretty crazy clown, but he also plays this melodica. I play a melodica at times and different instruments, and we're going through this cemetery, and our leader is this tiny, small person clown, and you know. Anyway, so my line in that movie, my famous line is, "Respect the testicles." That's my line. That's what I'm screaming as I do this terrible deed of murder. Respect the testicles. That's Saikan's famous quote. Translate that.
Oh, yeah. Right. Bueno, él habló bastante sobre su experiencia en Clown Motel. Dice que es curioso porque el motel está basado en un motel de verdad que está al lado de un cementerio. Entonces, en la historia del motel, para hacerlo menos tenebroso, metieron a un montón de payasos, lo que solamente lo hizo más tenebroso todavía. Así que él estuvo quedándose ahí, de hecho. Y entonces, es en eso en lo que está basado el motel. También mencionó a Joseph Kelly, que es el director de la película, que también menciona que consiguió la persona encargada de las maniobras en El Exorcista, y entonces que el Clown Motel es la película más brutal en la que ha estado, y que, bueno, veo que Joseph Kelly también apareció como un extra en Nace una estrella, la de 2018. Bueno, en fin, que aquí él interpreta a un payaso llamado Saikan, el cual toca una melódica, y hay una línea en la película que dice, respeta mis testículos. Y dice que es la línea de él.
Sí.
Ahí está, estoy orgulloso de eso.
Oh, wow. También sobre qué podemos esperar del rol no revelado para este año, en el cual le interpreta en My Special Boy.
You guys know it.
What can we expect about your undisclosed role in My Special Boy this year?
Well, I honestly don't know all that much about that film. I could go look at the script now, but I don't think they'd like me to do that. But I'm definitely playing a role in My Special Boy, which is, I think, filming in May. So my role has not been shot as of yet. So maybe it'd be better to talk about that one at a later date when I know more information. But yeah. So there you go. There's one. Do you guys know about the movie 13 Fanboy?
I think when we
13 Fanboy is
when we interviewed C.J. Graham, we saw that, I think.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Well, they do have. There's several films that are using first Jason songs, and they're going to be using first Jason song in 13 Fanboy. It's the song called Victim. They're using our song called Victim in 13 Fanboy. There's also a new series coming out called Happy Slashers. I don't know if you guys saw anything about that, but they're going to be using a song called Jason's Bride, which is kind of a comedy song, because I use that phrase, happy slashers in the summer sun. Sharp machetes, hockey masks are fun. But anyway, so there's all kinds of new projects that are happening, and but yeah, and I'm eager to hear about independent horror films that are coming out of Colombia too,
Ok, él dice que empiezan la filmación de My Special Boy en mayo, así que el rol que Ari va a interpretar todavía no se ha filmado, no tiene muchos detalles. Dice que podría ir a leer el guión, pero no cree que le gustaría que hiciera eso. Y dice que también hay proyectos que, por ejemplo, 13 Fanboy, que utilizan bastante música de Fierce Jason, que es su banda. Entonces, pues, que son varios proyectos así que utilizan esta música. Y yo también tenía una pregunta para él. So, Ari, we see that you have a role as Sean Voorhes in the new project, which is in pre-production. What could you tell us about this?
Wait, that's My Special Boy?
No, that's Slutty the Clown. You appear listed as Sean Voorhes.
In which film? I'm sorry.
Slutty the Clown.
One more time.
Slotty the Clown. It's on your IMDb page.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yes, this is another film. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm sorry. But yes, I have been cast in Slutty the Clown. Yes. This is put together by a great someone like yourselves in the United Kingdom who he does a horror blog and he's doing an independent film, and he just asked me, like you guys could ask me and send me something. If you go on Instagram or on it's called Screaming Screening. I think he has all kinds of cool stuff about the upcoming film. That's a cameo that I'm going to be doing. Currently, we're waiting a short time to complete that because one of the members of the crew that does the filming for me here in Chicago is quarantined for now. So he's going to be good soon. So I think in a couple weeks we're going to be able to film that. But that project is from the United Kingdom.
Great. Ok, dice que es un proyecto de Reino Unido en el que él va a interpretar un pequeño cameo y que fue casteado ahí. Que van a pues que no han empezado todavía porque hay un miembro del crew que está en cuarentena por el tema de la pandemia, pero es un proyecto en el que está trabajando.
Oh, genial. Gracias, Víctor, por la pregunta, muy importante. También, Ari, es algo interesante porque yo visualicé el filme La Chica y me interesó mucho una frase. Quiero saber qué opinas sobre esta expresión. Es un anti-spoiler no anunciada. Tuvo también una participación buena.
Okay, we see that you also have a role in the 2011 film named The Girl, the one you are a stalker.
Wow! Oh my gosh, that's from way back. Yeah, that's a film in which I play a pretty brutal killer that was filmed a long time ago in Ohio, if I remember correctly. And yeah, it concerns. Okay, so the girl is she's like ultimately the villain because, okay, even though I kill her, she somehow comes back to life and kills me. And then she is like, I guess, a vengeance ghost. And then she is going around and killing all these other unfortunate victims. And that character is played by Lisa Neild, who I think did a great job. I can't remember the name of the director at the moment.
Travis Bowen.
Say what?
Travis Bowen.
Travis Bowen. Thank you. You guys know everything. You're independent film buffs. Yeah, Travis Bowen. Yeah. What about Tales from Satan's Truck Stop? Have you seen that? As long as you're talking about these crazy movies. Tales from Satan's Truck Stop, where I play Ray, the bordello owner, who gets killed by a chupacabra. Ah!
Oh, okay. We haven't saw that. That's a new one.
That's what you gotta see. That's what you gotta see. That's an anthology. That's an anthology. Another one that's good. I play opposite Felissa Rose. She plays a witch, and I play the witch hunter. And I'm leading, the peasants with the torches, and then we burn her. She's a witch. But then, of course, she turns the tables at the last minute. I don't want to give it away, but that's called Terror Tales. Terror Tales. So you want to see Tales from Satan's Truck Stop, and also Terror Tales. Both of those are anthologies. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's that that one the site from Tales from the site instructs that its name is Terror Overload. So that's why.
Terror Overload. Also
right.
known. See, that's wild because they're one's called Terror Tales and one's called Terror Overload. That's very true. That's a good point. Yes.
Right.
Terror Tales and Terror
Okay,
Overload.
Ari dice que nos mencionó ahí uno que es el de Terror Overload y otro de Terror Tales, en el que en Terror Tales interpreta a un brujero, así como Geralt Rivia, que dirige a la
That's a
turba
good.
furiosa, dirige a la turba furiosa hacia la bruja que está en el corto. Y en el otro, interpreta también en una antológica de Terror Overload. Creo que el segmento se llama Tales from Satanic Truck Stop, que es como historias de la parada de camiones satánicos, en la que también actúa el dueño de un burdel.
Wow.
That's a good one. With the chupacabra.
Y lo mata el chupacabra, importante.
La la la.
Y vamos con la última pregunta, la más esperada de la noche. ¿Cuáles de las...
Part two.
¿Son dos? Bueno, ahí es, ¿cuáles de las actuaciones en las que usted participó le ha gustado más las expresiones de los villanos que interpretan con Slasher los psicópatas?
Oh, okay. So first, John wants to give you an attaboy and a congratulations for your role in The Scared, where you play Austin. It was from 2016.
Wait. Where I play what?
Austin.
What's the movie?
Scared.
Okay. What is the character like? What do
Austin. John is the one who saw the movie. Let me ask him. John, ¿cómo es el personaje físicamente?
El personaje, o sea, está con una mujer rubia y ellos entran en el auto y pues hay una escena en la que los asesinan a ellos.
You're with a blonde woman and you enter a car and you get murdered.
Oh, this movie! Oh my God, that was shot in New York City. Okay, yeah. I play like a big shot, and I get killed in the limousine. Yeah. Okay. Yes, that was a good one. That was a while back. That was produced by some very good directors from New York. The other one you mentioned, Rock, Paper, Scissors, right?
Yeah, we want to know, like...
I don't want to jump ahead. So that's almost all I remember about this movie. This is terrible, guys. I'm sorry. You're remembering movies that even I... No, I'm not... See, as Tom Savini told me many times, well, he actually only said it once, but I've thought about it many times, is that he said, you may work on 10 movies, okay, but ultimately 2 of them get released, So that's why you got to put your all into everything you do, because you never know which production is actually going to get attention. And he said it's very often the one that you don't think that will get attention that does get attention. For instance, you guys, do you know the movie Night Riders starring Tom Savini? And that movie in which they joust on motorcycles, and that Stephen King is in that movie, and Ken Foree.
Well, that sounds awesome.
Do you know this movie, Night Riders? But not like night, but Knight. It's about a Renaissance fair group, and they joust on motorcycles, and Tom Savini plays the Black Knight. And it is one of the most wonderful, fun films. Ed Harris is the star, okay? Ed freaking Harris is the star, okay? But why that movie isn't as well known as Friday the 13th, or what he made the same year, he also made, of course, Dawn of the Dead. So you never know, what. So there's so many different things. You always have to put your most into it. But yeah, Night Riders, you guys got to see that, man. Jousting on motorcycles. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's just the most amazing thing I ever heard.
It's a great movie. And they actually jousted on motorcycles. And not only is Tom Savini in that film, for all you Friday the 13th fans, Tasso Stavrakis is also in that film, plays a very important role. And he is the assistant who did a lot of the special effects with Tom Savini, did all the work on my makeup. And it's actually his hands that are going like this when Betsy gets her head chopped off. If you remember, Mom gets her head chopped off, but there's these hands going like this, and he has the ring, but they also have hair on them, if you notice, because he's Greek and he has a lot of hair. Tasso, those were Tasso's hands. But Tasso's in Night Riders too. So that's a little bit of independent movie Friday the 13th connection, because you seem to be very interested in independent films, which is good, because every time you see a film, you see all those names on the screen. So much work goes into movie making, as you all know, and so many people's lives are dedicated to filmmaking. So I know that it would warm the hearts of all of these filmmakers that you're mentioning to know that in faraway Colombia, somebody is thinking about their films. They'd be very happy to know that.
Okay, that's heartwarming. Yeah. Ok, vale, aquí Ari nos dice que es curioso que nos acordemos que veamos tantos roles de él que ni siquiera recuerda, pero que él recuerda que una vez Tom Savini le dijo que puede que trabaje en 10 proyectos a la vez y que solo uno de ellos salga a la luz, o que solamente uno de ellos sea reconocido, y que entonces hizo el ejemplo con la película Night Riders del 89, creo, 81, en la que de hecho Stephen King hace un cameo. Y dice que es una película genial. Sale Ed Harris, hacen un duelo en motocicletas, que es lo mejor del mundo, y aún así la película tal vez no es tan reconocida. Entonces que uno siempre tiene que trabajar como actor y dar lo mejor que uno tenga de sí mismo para cada proyecto en el que trabaja. Y mencionó ahí la participación también de uno de los que trabajaron en esa película. Y sí, ahí yo lo de esta Night Riders.
Ari, muchas gracias en serio por esta oportunidad. Y bueno, les agradezco también a Adeslan, Andrés, Víctor, Jesús, Guatibonza, Giancarlo, si quieren saludarle, les doy la oportunidad. Ari, estos son tus seguidores, por así decirlo, tus fans.
Gracias, amigos.
Sí.
You guys all set? Todo bueno?
Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you so much. And that's good. I'm glad that you're interested in independent films. Why don't you produce some independent films? Send them to us. I'll tell everybody about it, okay? Okay?
Thank you, Ari.
Okay.
That's
Muchas
great,
gracias. Okay, gracias.
It was truly an amazing experience to get to know you now.
Thank
It's
you.
true.
Feels shy.
That's the beginning. We'll talk again. We'll talk again soon, okay?
That's
Jason
great.
never dies.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Jason nunca muere.
Yeah. Yo, I have a final really personal question. Since some time ago we interviewed C.J. Graham, who plays Jason in the sixth part.
Yeah.
So do you have anything to say about him? Maybe if you enjoyed that movie, Jason Lives, I think it is.
C.J. Graham is an amazing person, a very warm and wonderful person. He's also a cowboy.
Oh yeah, and a veteran. Yeah, he's a real tall
Yeah.
guy.
Oh yes, a
Yeah,
veteran.
Yeah, he is.
And he also was very important in Las Vegas. He helped to run some of the big casinos. He did security for some of the big casinos in Vegas, and then he single-handedly ran a very important casino out in did the security. I mean, he was the security man for he had 200 people working for him, that doesn't even, he's just a great person. And, a lot of, like all the Jasons, a lot of the actors that have played Jason they're all wonderful people. CJ is absolutely a wonderful person, and he loves to interact with the fans. So, yeah, there you go. Another Jason nunca muere, forever, man, because of all of you. Okay?
That's great.
Okay.
Gracias.
Buenas noches. Buenos noches. Todo mundo.
Thanks so much.
Huge.
Enjoyed it here.
You.
Thank you.
Legend.